without further ado, let's make an impression of those two lovely lavender pieces. Another thing to remember that you are interpreting what you see. You hope that your viewers will, admirers will see your impression, your interpretation of the certain object. And I often use another piece of similar paper as a palette because I like to mix my colors on before I, for example, start painting something. So here comes the first, just the very basic. Remember, in aquarelle we always start with the lightest, right? And then we start adding a little bit more depth into our lavender piece, right? Something, and if we like it, we can add and we should let it dry, right? In the middle, just let it. We can start the stem right here. So here it is, and you can see how the leaves are working here for this little stem. So we can just paint them. So they basically come from the same point, and that's what we're gonna reflect here. So just take a little bit of color that is already on my palette and just help ourselves to little leaves. And in the sun and the wind, the colors dry out rather fast, so I can take some out. So here I'm mixing a few colors that I can use to deepen the impression of our lavender. And so I'm going to be adding a little bit stronger colors in the middle of the stalk. That's where they are, right? And just let the wind do the work and let it dry. We're painting something very, very loose, so I'm mixing my colors here on the palette, just picking them up, and now we're just gonna, there are some green parts of the lavender stalk that we can add here, right? So it's kind of visible here and there and in the middle, and so we can just add those, and then we can go back to our stronger colors and pick up some blues, pick up some purple, and we can add them as well. So, and at the edge there is a little flower that is more visible, so we're just gonna paint it here and add a little bit more strength to it. But there are stronger colors and darker colors in the middle of the stalk, right? So we're gonna add them and let the watercolor do its magic. Yeah, so it doesn't have to be, it's an impression. Again, we're painting an impression. We don't have to repeat the colors. We don't have to be exact. You painting this lavender stalk as you imagine it. If you see the shadows and the combination of hard edges and soft edges and something that is darker, so we can just let the colors flow and mix them as we want, and let them mix on the paper, which I love very much when colors just mix, and it still will be unmistakably lavender. So we're gonna pick up a few greens, check them out here, see how they're gonna look, see how they're gonna look on the paper, and we can just add them a little bit here. Well, yeah, it's gonna do its thing. It's gonna mix with what we have. We can make the stalk a little bit stronger. We can start it from here and just go up, right? So we can work on the leaf a little bit more. We can Get the shadow going a little bit more so we can prolong the stalk here, right? And there is a kind of like a slightly darker part of it that is not on the sunny side, right? So just very loose impression of the lavender. Hopefully there is even a little bit of the yellow, kind of like yeah, the pestis yellow, so just add them in, and so that's what we have, and we'll let it dry and then we'll see. And of course it's not a botanical illustration, but when you paint a bouquet of lavender, for example, that's what you'll be paying attention at, the shades of blues and violets and pinks and yellows and greens, just to create an impression of the lavender bouquet. It's not, again, it's not a botanical illustration. You often see lavender painted with this very regimented strokes. Well, yeah, I mean, if you were painting the postcard or, you know, something else of that matter, that's okay. I mean, you can do it that way. I mean, as many styles, as many artists, right? So you can do it that way, but you can also make another impression. And again, it's just an exercise, experiment, mix the colors, let them flow. Well, redo it 10,000 times, start again. It's yours. Own it. As I said, as many ways to paint, as many artists. So you can add some depth here in the middle if you're not satisfied with what you had before. So just do it a different way, experiment, add your little bit of green here, do the stalk, and don't do it like in one stroke because it's not how it works. Yeah, just add a little bit of, yeah, here we go. We're painting.